We defy this tax! The rebellion is spreading. Look at the map. We must send in the troops.
Mention the name Mahatma Gandhi, and a very specific image comes to mind. We picture a resolute elder, draped in a white shawl, who stood down the British Empire. He is remembered as the architect of nonviolent resistance. But the man who eventually brought an empire to its knees originally looked like this. In the late 19th century, Mohandas Gandhi was a deeply insecure and paralyzingly shy young man. Leaving behind his quiet Hindu upbringing in coastal Gujarat, the teenage Gandhi traveled to the epicenter of Victorian society, London. He was there to study law. His one foray into public life was personal. To honor a promise to his mother, he joined the London Vegetarian Society. Here, he learned the basic mechanics of institutional organization, his first experience with committee work and public advocacy. He managed to pass the bar and return to India, but his attempt at starting a legal practice quickly collapsed. During his first trial, his stage fright was so severe that he stood before the judge, physically unable to speak, and had to hand the case over to a colleague. Devoid of professional confidence and unable to find consistent work in his home country, Gandhi needed an escape. He accepted a modest one-year contract to handle a shipping dispute in the British colony of Natal, South Africa. When he arrived in South Africa in 1893, he encountered a highly segregated society. Under colonial law, Indian immigrants were subjected to heavy taxation, stripped of voting rights, and restricted from walking on public footpaths. The defining crisis of his life occurred a few days into his stay. Despite holding a valid first-class ticket, a white passenger objected to his presence in the carriage. Railway officials ordered Gandhi to move to the baggage car. When he refused, he was physically thrown off the train into the freezing night at Pietermaritzburg. Shivering in the dark station waiting room, he debated his options. He could pack up, accept the humiliation, and return home. Or he could stay and challenge the prejudice. He chose to fight, but he had to invent a new method to do so. He developed a concept he called Satyagraha, or truth force. This tactic redirects the energy of an attack by creating a nonviolent, absorbing barrier. Satyagraha is highly active. By refusing to retaliate, you expose the system's injustice, which destabilizes the oppressor's moral authority. He spent the next 2 decades in South Africa refining this methodology. He organized the Indian community, filed petitions, and endured multiple prison sentences. South Africa served as a controlled laboratory. Over 21 years, the once tongue-tied lawyer tested a political tool capable of confronting global imperial power. When Gandhi returned to India in 1915, he was a seasoned organizer. Within a few years, he took leadership of the Indian National Congress, preparing to apply his methods to a population of hundreds of millions. He shifted his focus to a massive, coordinated scale. He initiated nationwide non-cooperation campaigns, urging Indians to boycott British textiles and withdraw from colonial government posts to completely dry up the economic lifeblood of the empire. His most effective application of this strategy was the 1930 Salt March. The British held a strict monopoly on salt production, levying a heavy tax on a mineral essential for human survival. This photograph captures the climax of the protest. At 60 years old, Gandhi led thousands of followers on a grueling 240-mile trek to the Arabian Sea to defy the colonial law. When he reached the shore, he simply reached down and picked up a lump of salt. It was a replicable action. Within weeks, millions of ordinary citizens were breaking the law by boiling their own seawater, resulting in over 60,000 arrests by the British. When the massive crowds occasionally fractured into rioting, Gandhi deployed his most extreme tactic, the hunger strike. He used fasting as a method of self-discipline, risking his own life to shame his supporters back into maintaining nonviolent behavior. By standardizing these acts of defiance, Gandhi converted individual self-discipline into a functional political weapon. The British administrative machine, which relied entirely on Indian cooperation, stalled when faced with a population that had mastered the logistics of coordinated resistance. In August 1947, the British government finally relinquished control, but the victory was fractured. The The subcontinent was violently partitioned into a Hindu-majority India and a Muslim-majority Pakistan, triggering massive displacement and religious warfare. While millions celebrated independence, Gandhi traveled to the worst riot zones in Calcutta and Delhi. Pushed to the physical brink, he initiated his final hunger strikes, effectively shaming the warring factions into a ceasefire. His strict defense of religious pluralism and his protection of Indian Muslims angered extreme factions. On January 30, 1948, a militant nationalist approached Gandhi at a prayer meeting in Delhi and shot him 3 times in the chest. Looking at the sheer scale of his funeral procession, with over 1 million people flooding the streets, it appeared India had lost its guiding compass. Yet the core thesis of his life had been proven. He had demonstrated that soul force, organized, nonviolent resistance, could dismantle the structures of imperial power more effectively than brute force. His methodology was quickly exported. In the United States, leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. directly studied Gandhi's campaigns, applying the mechanics of Satyagraha to the American civil rights movement. He left behind a rigorously tested, actionable playbook. From the American South to activists like Nelson Mandela fighting apartheid in South Africa, Gandhi provided the modern world with the architectural blueprints for peaceful revolution.